So we are right now with the Bronx Conservative Party. We're going to be listening to some of the candidates who are going to be running in the near term for constituency in the Bronx, various offices. There will be some questions for all candidates. We have more people coming in as we go. So I hope everyone's going to find it interesting and informative. And of course, you're always welcome to try and reach out to everyone at any time to ask them questions about their campaigns as well, not just today. Well, with that said, I don't want to take away from your meeting. Go right ahead, Jim.
Yes, my name is I was for this event at the Bronx Conservative Party, and we're here with several candidates for office, and we're going to have a dialogue. Before that, we're going to have 2 minutes to debate, and then when the president. So we have here Manuel Finley, the council. We have Gonzalo Duran, the mayor, and we have Dr. Good morning. We also have some special guests here. We have former Assemblyman Jose Rivera, celebrating the Bronx, and former county chairman of the Bronx Democratic Party. And we have also with us Mr. Patrick McManus, who is the chairman of the Bronx County Conservative Party. We also have who is the district leader for the 78 and 70 district. So with that, let's start. So we have 3 minutes for open statement.
Well, first, my name is Gonzalo Duran, and I am running for mayor of New York City. For the last 2.5 years, I've been working to try to increase the party line. Not only that, but trying to build relationships not with just one of the, for many of you out there. In that capacity, recently we've increased our party line by 50% the first year and over 25% the second year. I am now the vice chairman of the Bronx County Conservative Party. I am very proud to say that. I'm very proud about the work that we've been able to do the last couple months. Specifically, we ran 18 out of 21 members for the office. Now, why do I mention all that? Because for positions that we're going to be going for, let's say mayor, city council, we don't have a lot of legislative background, so we have to use our personal and our moral and temperaments so that the people can understand where we are at. And because of that, a little bit background on me for the people that don't know who I am. I'm a former United States Marine Sergeant, Iraq veteran. I'm currently the CEO for a nonprofit that's been operational for 11 years. Some accolades so you guys can know the level of my experience in the community. I'm a former NASDAQ opener, Father of the Year for New York City recipient, Veteran of the Year, Humanitarian of the Year, etc. Now, where I am going in for the mayor candidacy, now I have principles that I believe are the foundation that we need to have more characteristics in our leaders. One, transparency. Two, leadership. And the third one, I think is very important. It's not to be a person that continues to flip flops. I don't have the technical term for something like that, but I think I'm trying to get to my point across. The transparency part right now, we have a very detrimental issue with individuals that are in positions that are given the position to them. We have special elections that are continuously done out of nowhere with little noise to be heard from the governor down to the politicians as well. We have nepotism and cronyism out the get-go. We have individuals winning city councils, state assembly seats with like 3,000, 4,000 votes. It's ridiculous that we've gone to this point. Now we're going to get worse, and until that point comes up, I don't think we're gonna make a lot of changes. But I'm trying to run so that we can stop those things before they happen, and we can try to get people that wanted better New York to be placed in to make New York better now. Thank you. Oh, besides that, if you guys want to get more information on me, you can feel free to reach out to me at gonzalezduran.nyc, and on my social media is Gonzalez Duran NYC. Thank you.
All right. Anyway, I've been in the community health since 2012. Some 7 people. Force help making sure that community concerns are met. For the neighborhood fix as the traffic lights that's allowed those broken. We also have the parking signs. Those are also broken. And not only for the signs here, signs. We got like 3 signs in one area. So I've been working with that. I've been more side, making sure that certain laws are looked at twice. My thing has been really, I expect economic, but it wasn't as glorious as it was. So that's what makes that the notes whole time. Working in for their changes happening. When I joined the Conservative Party last year, I was just a candidate, and this year I've managed to get to the point where I have like, one voice in the party when it comes to candidates. Help in Gonzalo with increasing the party registration. For me, it's more about boots on the ground. Being there, boots on the ground, and actually taking initiative to help the community. It's not about me. It's not about aspirations. It's more about making sure that the community's needs are met and that their voices are heard. Especially when you go into the houses, such as public housing. Go in there, for instance, at the doors. The doors locked. People live in the building. Sometimes 12 o'clock at night, a lot of people not fighting children. Talk about the allocation of stuff. Wiring across, seals are falling in on people. We've had multiple buildings collapse. That's where what affects people's everyday life and what affects people now. And that's why I'm going for city council, because city council is responsible. They're responsible for city planning. They're responsible for our resources of managed, and so far it has been mismanaged. What to do about heard, and that's where I have been more active.
All right, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Hello, good evening, everybody. District Leader, the 70% of the district, the party. Yes, so far, leadership by example, with me, my involvement starting in 2023, with past vision of allowing an open third-party primary. I was able to re-register a lot of 100 people from third party, from the Democratic Party, from the Independent Party, from the Republican Party, District 37. A lot of people, especially the projects that they mentioned earlier, they don't even know they can the voter registration. So I beat my chest for the entire year of question 14 of the voter registration form. A lot of people laughed on social media, started, but it was surely since January of 2023 snowballed. And such a result, it was able to get enough votes to push up over the top in 40 years here in the Bronx, New York City Council. It was great. But a lot of people believe that because they're black or they're Latino, they have to automatically be a Democrat. They have to stay that way forever. Most people get inclusion don't vote. Most people register to vote for the first time, vote, get a change, they won't vote again. So with us, we do a lot of civic education. Me personally, I left the Democratic Party in 2023, by example. What broke me? And I'm here closing 7 Catholic schools in the Bronx. And I said, you know what? The parents meeting, usual rallies and stuff. I said, well, in order to control us here in the Bronx, you must destroy education and stuff like that. So school choice, universal school choice has been an issue that I've been fighting for in the Bronx. Ever since the lockdowns of COVID-19 in 2021, school choice has been something like very personal for me, that's very spiritual feeling, because I help parents homeschool their children in that fashion, things of that nature. And also currently still fighting to this day, people that are tired, not taking stock reality and lost everything. So the third part, the forefront, a lot of people look to us to leadership in the Bronx and beyond. They're not countless of President Trump to come to the Bronx twice, making it cool world for Trump. That's part of the big picture. But we'll see how we're going to make it. Again, 78th district.
All right, so, let's review the first question. Excuse me. I didn't get you. This is Alonzo. He's speaking on what? Well, city council. Wonderful. Okay. That's right, it's a candidate. Everybody here, sir. Tell us about your.
By the way, everyone else can sit up as well. We're shuffling a few seats here, folks. A couple people are afraid to come over and be in the live stream. Don't worry about my camera. Just go ahead and sit, folks. You're fine.
You're not wrong.
You'll read it in detail. But my reason for wanting to get into I don't like to say politics, I say public service. Because politicians a lot. Stigma. But the reason that I want to throw my hat, that you said, school choice, first of all. The New York City Council actually came up with a proclamation that basically in this special session, they said that due to the lack of education in our neighborhood, that directly leads to violence and disparities among Black.
We're doing introductions.
Sorry. Straight into it. So, like I said, my name is Alonzo Henderson. I just moved back here from Baltimore, where the party with Shannon Wright for mayor. Council. I sat on LGBTQ board to the mayor, which was Catherine Q. To Jack Young, my friend. It's next to have you here.
All right. So, now, by what difference it is from the project.
Can we get 3 minutes to legal?
Yes, 2 minutes. Well, 2 minutes. Yeah.
2 minutes. Let's see. One of the biggest reasons why I'm running for mayor is because the way I'm scared. I'm scared every day. I'm scared of going to take the bus. I'm scared of trying to get something to eat. And it's just not safe for me. I want to make it more safer. I want to be able to live in where I live. I got priced out of my old location. And I'm gonna probably get priced out in a couple of years from where I live now. So all these things that are hurting myself are hurting a lot of the same people that I live with, and I want to change that. So one specific thing that I want to do is try to give back power to the NYPD Blue, so that they can do their jobs without feeling like they're gonna get not support from their leader. You know, Adams, I believe, has done a lot of things where 1 minute he's pro helping us, but then the civic engagements of the lawyers come in and he backpedals. So once again, my principles of not flip flopping. Another situation that I'm trying to go for is changing a lot of the programs and systems that are hurting us. Now, I don't have everything developed perfectly, but let's say for the housing situation, one of the problems that we have is that the AMI is hurting the numbers and making these affordable housing work. I don't have enough time for that.
Just the,
Yeah, I don't have enough time for that. And another thing is the leaderships. You know, you've seen the Adams administration lose a lot of commissioners for different things. And what I want to make sure that I do is, instead of picking my friends and families to be in these positions, I want to make sure that individuals that have gone from the bottom up, rank and files, have these positions, and people that are best, well organized, and educated in these positions to be the leaders that we look for. And in turn, if I believe that happens, you'll see differences across the city and these departments in helping to make it safer, more affordable, and et cetera.
So, this is something I wanted to put out. This is also a roundtable discussion. Okay. So each candidate can interject. If there's something they want to add, or maybe a question they would like to propose any of the other candidates. The table right now.
So the AMI, so for, yes, I don't know the exact, area median income. So you take that factor, you take hub factor and how they break down the prices for housing. And a lot of people, they're gonna go off that. So let's say the market rate is gonna go off of what HUD says. And then the AMI makes the affordability part for the individual. So you have those two factors that makes, like, say, one person wants to put the rent at this price. Now, you can have an apartment and rent it for $1,000, but if the HUD, things are factored in, let's say 2,000, most people are gonna go for the 2,000. But, this, so now you have a situation where you're trying to get affordable housing, now you have, let's say, a lottery for it, and the income for it may be like $100,000 or 78,000 or more. The average person in the Bronx makes maybe 45, 50,000, I believe is the actual number. So once again, the disparity of that. Now, I understand different market rates and counties and different sections of New York have higher price point. Let's say Manhattan, to get an apartment over there, you're thinking over 5,000 at the bare minimum. In the Bronx, you're looking at, for a one-bedroom apartment, let's say $1,500. So it's a lot of factors, but and it's not going to be an easy thing for you want to change any of those things. Let's say the AMI number, or let's say the percentage of affordability when somebody takes the tax credit for, like, a developer, right? I want to move those things more. Like, instead of 30%, make it 50, 60%. If the AMI is taking areas outside of the county that we need people to be focused on with their budgets, then, that's cool. You're going to get a lot of pushbacks from the real estate industries and special interest groups, but I'm willing to be the bad guy to fight those things.
so I bet you pass the, yes. developers do with that? Or what it is?
Well, I don't want to take up too much of the table, but I mean, if you're asking me about the city of Yes, I was very vocal being against it. I and the party has made it very, very clear. Um, if I was put into the position of mayor, I'm telling you, I would fight that day one. The biggest problem that I have with city of Yes is that we're gonna lose our single family housing all over the city. Let's say more of the urban, suburban area, let's say like we have in the Bronx. Um, these you're gonna take one single family house, and now you're gonna be able to make a dormitory in the back, maybe the basement, make it two families instead of a one family type of situation. Take one apartment, and now instead of having once again a single family home, you have multiple dwellings in it. And now for me, what I look at is what is the next generation working for? If most people goal is to have the nuclear family, the white picket family, 3.5 kids, etc., what do we have to look forward to if now those houses are going to be more, let's say, Airbnbs and three families in one.
Public housing. Yeah. Went to the shelter. Plus, the fact that as far as homelessness is concerned. Okay.
First things first, what I want to look at is we want to look at the hotel that have been opened up for illegal immigrants, or what they call them, migrants. We opened up these hotels and we were able to launch them there. So now that President Trump is in and shut down and going back, but those hotels are still there. Those rooms are still available. Those buildings that they transformed into shelter and use those buildings to house with a proper staff that also takes into account that you have people that have mental issues. That's why they're out. And some of the veterans that are out on the streets are not out on the streets because they're mental. Some of them are out on the streets because of the way they're being treated in current shelter. The disrespect, the humanization of these veterans that fought the wars for them to live our life as comfortable as we are, when they're being treated wrong. So one thing I want to use those buildings and try to get our veterans into those buildings first, and then we get the reason why I said the veterans first is because we get a you go to war for us, they did their part. So we have to honor.
Whatever, have the peer study here.
Yes, because it takes a
Well,
but I think council has to look at. I think I was trying to build. The city is trying to build more buildings, but you're failing to see that the so that's the first thing you want to address, which is the buildings collapsing. Like the one that fell last year, a whole bunch of people died in that one. And we also have the elevators in those buildings. So we want to address that. We want to address the existing infrastructure and fix that before we start trying to put up new buildings, and buildings are there already. A new building, what you have to take into account is that you also have to think about the sewer system and water. How are we going to get water to these buildings? Sewers, how are we going to get them emptied out? Garbage collection. You're not looking at all of these aspects that go into putting up a new building. So my thing is, let's take care of what's already here.
several of the ancient buildings coming on. I know
Yes. No heat. One of the things I thought would happen is that you would have maybe heat for like 10 minutes if you're lucky, and then it's off. And then the other thing I've heard a lot of them saying, some that you would have leaking, what you would call them, radiators, not the radiators. Radiators. So when they're on, even when, the heater is on, the radiator is leaking, and your whole living room is flooded. Yeah, and you had a ticket in for years. The tickets that are in there are like 3 years old. And it's still going.
Danny, I'm, thank you guys for bringing that up. I actually have a well thought out plan for, I call it the Bronx Unity Development. And it's basically, the executive summary for the Bronx,
You can actually share. that.
Yeah.
Zoom if you want.
Can I-
We have the Zoom. So you can-
yeah, it's all here. The executive summary, the Bronx Unity Development Initiative, BUDI, is a transformative mixed-use project aimed at revitalizing key opportunity zones in the Bronx. And I have to really place that in the forefront, opportunity zones. I do get what you're saying about what we already have as existing infrastructure. But if we can take advantage of what President Trump put into play in his first administration, which is opportunity zones, and a lot of people don't even know what the opportunity zones. And
Could you break it down or explain what an
Okay,
opportunity
so-
zone is for those that don't know?
Well, on that note, it was, Senator Scott, Republican from South Carolina, that put that in place and it became law.
it
But many of our
are not abreast of it. So what the opportunity zone is basically this: in our low income and urban areas, even in suburban low income areas where there are minorities, you have different zones that are allocated for development. And those zones being opportunity zones, being in disparaged neighborhoods, the United States government is infusing cash, large amounts of cash into these opportunity zones to build mixed-use buildings, to build community centers, to build anything that you want to bring up the infrastructure, to bring up the economic development of these said neighborhoods.
My thing with that is, we're gonna build these buildings, but how do we maintain them? Because remember, those extra buildings were new at one.
Yeah.
They had perfect plumbing, they had perfect electricity. How do we not just leave it, okay, we build no one,
We don't vote for anyone Democrat to rob us. How-
that's the one, but I'm talking about, and or are we going to say, hey, but we need to put up, people actually look at us, and yes, you're doing the work, because
So,
we put up a new building, give it 5, 10 years, it's in disrepair.
no, it's not going to be in disrepair because opportunity zones are just this funded, how would you say, residual throughout the life of that project. And that project is actually made to bring forth other projects. So it's basically a catalyst to revolving income.
Yeah, but the problem is those are federal funding that we're limited city councils and mayors to.
No, they're not.
It's the contracts that go through.
No.
No, but the federal government give block grants, most of the city budget people don't realize.
All block
Block
grants
grants
don't
from the
have
federal
to be paid
government.
back. They don't have to be paid back. And what people don't know is that our city council members, all 53 of them, have a discretionary budget. Each of them have a discretionary budget to $150 million each. It's the borough president have. Their reach is. But the
I want, share, something to extend.
Just got a call. But I'm not allowed to drive at night. Sure, you know that by now, my friend. But I'm here because you agitated me to come in. All right, the doctor doesn't want me driving at night. I want to just stay safe home. Okay? So, I just have a suggestion. To all you candidates. This is the armory this bridge, you got for the road, listen,
District there.
it's coming back into making it. But we had a plan when I was a councilor. We had a plan when I was an assembly. What was the plan? Simple. You take the armory, you build a mall. A mall. Forget about housing the homeless. Because when I got into politics, we already had the homeless there. We had to kick them out. Okay? All right? Doesn't make me a bad guy. But we didn't like what was going on. We had to clean it up. And then it's been close ever since. We had a plan. To take a business shopping mall here, not to compete with the small business people in front of it, but to ask the small business people to move into it. And since you, especially you, will have so much power if you were to get into government. You have the power to tell all those business people you will have free rent for 10 years. We will not charge you to rent taxes for 10 years. You have the power to do that.
That's right.
The most powerful elected official in government, not the mayor. You, city council, not a congressman. You guys control the budget of the city of New York, and the mayor doesn't dare go against anything you want. That's how powerful you are. If you didn't know that, now you know it. If every mayor did almost everything we asked them to. What happened was that the leadership in those days were replaced by dreamers. They came to say, yeah, you know, so, by dreamers. And what they're going to do with the Bronx? They never did anything about that. The first thing they did, they got elected, they went, actually, Ruben Diaz Jr., the former president. He went to the council and said, vote down this plan. And it was voted down. So here we are. You know what I suggest you guys do? As soon as the weather gets better, you have an open rally
Outside.
in front of the armories and say, enough is enough. We're going to work hard to make this a reality. And in front of replacing the small, you can build 7 to 14-story high houses.
It's you.
And you can house the homeless and anybody else. That's a power for you guys. You can run for the position that you are running. That's a power for you. You can get this done. You know, Bloomberg almost, by the time we got on board, we were replaced by people that are the same. And they were catering to other people who felt threatened, other developers, by allowing this to get up there. I don't care about the war part, anybody. Everybody concerned in those big like this shopping mall. All right?
Well, we can start working on it, but we're in office, so.
So basically, he's saying, just what I have here, it would be a thriving, inclusive, and sustainable urban community that bridges economic gaps, fosters innovation, and enhances the quality of life for all Bronx.
How do we sustain it?
Okay.
The way you explained previously sounded more like a Russian door. The more you open, there's more you gotta go back. How do you make sure that once these people get to these buildings, put these buildings up, they don't become
How do you sustain them?
Because I'm talking about they're gonna be mixed use, and this is.
But mixed use doesn't answer the question that people have. Right now, we have buildings that when they start out, we're good.
Most of those buildings are privately owned.
However,
Put that up.
I'm talking about,
We're now talking about the future. You keep this.
I'm not bringing back the past. What I'm bringing back is a track record
You do
of
this.
letting things
It pays
fall
off for
into
itself.
disrepair.
What is revenue generated, for example, if you look at, look at Wall Street, look at Congress for this.
Okay,
Right, maintain,
we all know that real estate generates a lot of money. Millions of dollars that we generate. Why is it that our infrastructure is falling apart?
Because of your leadership. Your
Okay,
leadership.
but that's not, what are we going to do moving forward? How do we make sure that these buildings don't fall into the job? 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, people are gonna live in those buildings. How do we make sure that those? Chance to do that. Yes,
You gotta get it together. It's smart.
what I'm saying is that's why I mentioned the dilemma, which is a state project. And it's like
Something to look at.
funding, there's a funding base.
Yeah.
So it's maintained,
With nature.
right? It's maintained. Nature is not maintained.
No.
They're taking money out.
Mr. Long is privately and publicly owned.
Private and publicly owned, where there's a funding base. So the buildings are maintained, never goes down. They have a maintenance staff. They hire people from the development. So therefore, people are making money.
Inclusionary equity.
They're pushing it. The reason why Niger fall apart, they won't even hire someone from Niger to do the work.
So they hire people that just don't do the work.
Yes.
That's what I was
And
like.
this is the thing. We should, to answer your question, inclusionary equity. Why should we have somebody that's coming to this building that don't live in this building to clean it? They might want to come here one day and not clean and sleep in the building, downstairs in the bottom so they get off. Every 5 days, and that's how these buildings fall together. Because you have city workers that are protected by these unions, which I don't mind about unions, but it's so hard to get them out of there. And this is why everything is falling into. Because you used to have people, you have people that are lazy, you have people that are complacent with getting this money that they are being paid from the city and not doing anything. We don't, and the city officials are not taking these people to task, not firing them, not reprimanding them, not doing anything that they're supposed to be doing to these people to ensure that these buildings are running smooth.
When you were speaking, it was that it seems like we need an audit of NYCHA.
Audit. We need to fire everybody.
We need an audit. We need an audit. We need to audit NYCHA.
We need to bring in those.
Where's the money going?
It's
It's in the and outside, we have, we need outside.
independent for rent.
Independent. Exactly what I'm saying. We need to track where's the money going? Why are these buildings not being held up? And that needs to be done in every city, exactly.
You're asking a question that you were going to never get the answer. So I want to implore you to ease up off of that. You know what I'm saying? My mother used to always say, how could you walk forward effectively? Look at that. You're gonna bump into something. You're looking back.
What I'm looking at, track record.
No, don't look hard at track record. Look at the future.
Yes, but the track record tells me what you're going to do. Because when things get tough, we're reverting back to what's easy.
So we covered that part. Because I think you're
Question.
We have lines.
But then, do you not have to study history? Do you not have to have an idea? You don't have to dwell in it, but you do have to kind of study it in order to have.
From what you came from to where you're going.
So I think he's asking the questions of saying, okay, let's have this discussion so we can know how to plan to go forward.
Good. And I like that. But it's not but you know, However, okay, so I'm gonna keep it on the eye. That's what they say, keep it on the eye. And being in the back field of this arena, consulting, and just doing different things to ensure public policy, and right policy, and advocate, and lobby in DC for various things. I tended to not. I tend to learn from the past. I tend to get all the information that I need to get from the past in order to move forward. So I ask myself, why did this happen? Why did this happen? And what can we do to prevent this from ever happening? I already have that in my head moving forward. Because my mother always told me that to move forward, you need to concentrate on forward. You need to understand where you're from in order to get to where you're going. So to argue about how it was and who did it and why they did it is irrelevant.
I don't think that he's arguing. He's merely asking a question. I have yet to hear an answer.
I get
The reason why I think
to say that. You should already have to say that.
All right, so let's, yeah.
Okay,
All right, yeah.
so to speak on buildings a little bit, you have it all right, okay? You, wishful thinking that a lot of people have brought to the Bronx already, and I'm saying this from experience. I own buildings, I run buildings. NYCHA, there's a problem in NYCHA, okay? They're drug infested, rat infested, and they're falling apart. Why? You asked the right question. NYCHA is not run correctly. You can build buildings. They're building buildings all over the Bronx, all over Manhattan, and there's no shortage of apartments. It's fake, okay? Now, affordable housing, there's many affordable housing. Programs, so many programs. I have tenants over the age of 65. There's a program, I believe it's called EIRIE, something like that. Don't quote me on that. I'll give it to you, the program. Anyone over the age of 65, you can freeze the rent. You can,
Yeah, still a dream.
yeah, you freeze the rent and then they give the landlord a tax credit. Because let's be honest, it takes money to run buildings. It takes money to heat buildings, to do repairs. So you can't just have rent stabilization, rent freeze, which this is a rent freeze. It's great. But you know what? You still, a rent stabilized apartment in the city, a one bedroom, usually goes for around 700-800 in reality,
Yeah.
okay? Now, in the NYCHA buildings, 99% of the people are paying 100, 200 on average. So don't, say, hey, there's no affordable housing.
There's no money coming into me.
No, there's a lot of money coming in. There is a lot of money. If you look at the funding that the city of New York has for NYCHA, it's coming in. But the federal government, New York, it's being squandered. So the questions you are asking are 100% correct. You go into city council and that's what you have to push, those questions. And you have to hold the people responsible. Don't say we don't need to think about the fact. That's wrong. We need to think about it and we need to see why and who is failing these NYCHA buildings. Because they're all falling apart. Exactly. Because remember, we learned the mistakes and we have to hold people accountable for this. I agree with you 100%.
I agree with you, guys, but I respectfully disagree.
Let me make one point and then, here's what I'm saying. It's like, you play sports. When you play sports, you go back and you watch film. Whether you win or whether you lose, you go back and you watch film. You watch your opponent,
You study.
their wins and their losses. You watch your wins and your losses. And then you go, okay, I messed up here. Okay, we fixed it. And that's the question I'm asking. Why are we not doing that? Why are we not saying, hey, what's going on in NYCHA that's causing this to happen? Because buildings are going up every day. You see them, brand new buildings. Oh, feel like it's lottery. You get into it. Okay, cool. 10 years from now, what are those people doing? They can't afford those buildings anymore.
Exactly.
Building at the end of it. What happens when it gets cold outside and the water freezes and that pipe bursts? How are we taking care of that? Nobody's asking that question. What happens when the electrical wire goes down? And you got shortages of that.
Well,
Are
I
we taking
think
care of
that-
that?
I
It's
think
not
that-
happening.
hold on. I think that people are addressing that in the sense that, the nature, it's most of this money from HUD, right? And HUD sends money to the state, and the state sends money to the city. And then the city has
So
but
what I'm
there
hearing,
is mismanagement on their part. I just did the reason why this company I just did a show on the largest public housing development in the country. Queensbridge Housing, right? Which has 94 buildings, right? And it's falling apart. And there's a whole lot of empty apartments. And the city has not invested anything in there to repair it. For example,
what I'm hearing is that we have way too many middlemen. Because this person gives it to that person and that person gives it to this person. There's too many points of weakness in it wherein a lot of corruption can happen. We need a clear system that you can see clear through it. Okay, here, point A, point B, we can track it.
This is what happened. What do we do? Yes.
Keep it simple. There's too many layers and red tape that's cutting it off and making it hard for actually work.
I would say it's too much.
For instance, I was trying to put on a coat drive last year in November. I don't know if any of you guys remember. I was trying to put on a coat drive in November just to give out coats for people. Look at the weather right now. I went to the senior center next to my building and I said, "Hey, political is affiliated, but there will be some political figures that might show up. This is just for the community. I want to bring some people. I want to give coats back to the community so people can stay warm. I don't know how I couldn't do that.
On the grounds up, what was the reason?
Well, because one of the things I was told was because if it came from the borough president's office, that they don't allow it to do it. That's only for the seniors. That are the facilities only allowed for the seniors and only has. I'm like, well, yeah, seniors are also getting the coat. We're bringing coats for the people in the building right behind you.
He said no.
They said no. We just want to bring coats. That's what we want to do. Just bring coats in. Said no. Because it's a senior center, it's only supposed to be used for senior activities.
right, now on that level,
Unless I got the
On that-
clearance from.
on that point, again, people in, Democrat,
Mhm.
right? How do you, people, say, let's go somebody,
I have a,
So actually, I think I'm pretty good at answering that question. As a conservative, person, I brought in service in the last
We
2
wonder.
years in the South Bronx, other than the South Bronx. Like I said, the increase in numbers has been dramatic, and you'll see that a lot of them come within 3 assembly districts in my area. So how do we tell people to come? Well, first of all, we have to have the right individuals that run for candidate. That's one. Two, we have to spread the message of what the principles that we're going for. And then the third part, which I think it's a really crucial, why I joined the party, the leadership, Patrick Manis. When I sat down with him, I told him, look, this is what I would like to do. And I asked for the feedback what I'm supposed to be doing. And, there was no pushback, there was no reasons on some of the things because at the end of the day, I'm more of a conservative. I do a lot of things that people don't particularly see as a regular conservative would be doing. And I like to talk about putting myself out of business. I think if I put enough individuals that have conservative principles and values, which is the same thing which a lot of people that are coming across to me, people that are interested, believe in the higher power, people that are looking for the nuclear family, looking for transparency in government, also limiting government, and a lot of. And once I start developing the relationship, they see somebody like myself in the community, working bipartisan, doing things that, let's say, the Democratic Party before, before me speaking out loud and saying I'm a district leader for the Conservative Party, most people think about the Democrats only in that perspective. And now we have individuals that are speaking out, putting themselves out there, saying I'm a district leader, a committeeman for the Conservative Party, had a lot of pushback. And the people have seen the Democratic Party trying to knock us down here and there. And I want to say to the Democratic Party, please continue to do it. Because the more you guys come after us, the more we're pushing out. Now, the media hasn't done that. If you look, if you just Google Conservative Party now, you'll see tremendous amount of information on it, videos, events, stuff that has been in the newspaper, not only just at the local level, we've actually reached at the federal, the national level with different periodicals, and I want to continue that. So how do I get them in? I show them that there's another way, there's another party, there's another opening.
Right, and it's diversity. Look at the all.
Well, no, but here's the thing, I'm gonna show you more diversity. The diversity of us are Hispanic, Black, white, Asian, women.
The diversity that we have is diversity of thought. Because even though we're concerned, we have disagreed and we continue to disagree, and because we're trying to find a way that a balance. Right?
Okay, so, me personally, like I said, keeping it on the top. I don't ever disclose party affiliation, ever, speaking to somebody. When I engage somebody in the conversation, I always walk up to them and say, hey, my name is Alonzo. What would you like to do? How are you doing? What do you get? It's all about you. It's all about the person. It's not about the party. It's about the people. That's number one. Number two, as a public servant, it's not what we want. It's to listen to what the people want. Every time you let somebody talk, and you and us, as a public servant, you already have a plan in mind to hear their grievances, to fix it, or at least to lend a hand to it. So I do agree with you. I do agree to a certain extent. When you say conservative, I don't ever say conservative. I worked in Baltimore, right? I worked with the Baltimore Central Republican Committee, which Tom Kennedy was chairman, and Tom Kennedy was chairman, and Shannon Wright was the co-chair. She ran eventually for mayor. I went over to our party. Giovanni Patterson ran for city council. We're all conservative. Now, I sit on a board to the mayor. The entire city hall is done. And inside of one of these meetings, I'm talking to y'all like we're talking now. Listen, and I'm offering a suggestion. Listen, give it a
So I'll go a little step further than that.
If you're a Republican, drop the mic. You know what? We wouldn't even have a conversation with you. But being that you listened to us, you brought solution, and really sincere about listening to what we wanted and what we want to do. So I say that to say this. It's not about parties, it's about people. And if you're representing the people of this great borough of Bronx, it should be about them all. You have the plan to carry them forward.
And that's a great POV, but specifically getting conservatives to join, individuals join the party, you know, there's different methods and different ways.
I wouldn't say conservatives to join. I would say you change the minds of people. It's not making anybody do anything. It's bringing fresh ideas, initiatives to the table, engaging in a on reciprocal conversation.
No, on that, people are tired of what you feel about congestion pricing.
Before we go to that,
Yeah, I'd like to, if I,
before we go there, the question asked about how we get people in. Boots on the ground. It's boots on the ground. People don't care how much you know until you know how much you know.
Plan
You have to be there. Because you never know what day could be that person's down day, and you're there to pick them up.
But I think people like
We
Timmy,
see a lot of, we see the Democrats say what you want about them, but they're out there.
thank you.
Yeah, right.
Say whatever you want. They're out there.
but I think
They're
Jimmy,
really good at propaganda. They're very good at advertising. Say what you want. but they have their strengths, and we have to acknowledge that. Boots on the ground.
How do we beat them?
Boots on the ground.
If I may,
Be there.
if I
Be
may.
there in the community centers. Be there with the
Follow along with Twitter.
go. No. Forget the people in power. They're not the goal.
No, that's people.
They're irrelevant. What we're trying to do is get the people the help that they need. That's why I say boots on the ground. Go out there, talk to the people, and bring the coats, come and talk to them. Even when they tell you, I don't want to hear what you got to say, it's okay. Today, I had a gentleman here, like, oh, he doesn't want to talk to the Republicans. Okay, I just want to hear what you have to say, because you might say something that I learned from that can help us improve the community. That's why I want this. That's why I want this round table, so we can actually sit down and have the discussion. Because if we can't do it here, how can we prove to the people that once we get there, we can actually do the job?
But I have a say about the Democratic Party. Because when I found out the council and people said, call the politicians, they don't answer us. Right? They don't address. Now, the issue that we had here was people died in the project of overdose of fentanyl. They call the city council person who is to speak on the city council and nothing. So what I'm trying to say
On the ground.
we have
When
to come
they don't show up, we do.
When they show up, we still go.
The point I was making is boots on the ground. If we're there, whether they're there, whether they're not there, as long as we're there, the people see us working and doing the work. Because at first, people are going to look at you and they're going to turn you away. They're going to say, we don't know who you are, and they have every right to. Everybody else has come in here and told them, oh, we're going to do this big change, we're going to do all of this. And it's ended up the same way every single time. So they're going to look at you and going to scrutinize you, which they have every right, and they should do. And then when that happens, the more you show up and you say, okay, I understand, but I'm still here. I get it, but I'm still
I
here.
just want to make this one point. I hear you and I love the passion and I agree with you wholeheartedly. One of the things that you had said, which is so true, is that the Democratic Party has a machine.
Mhm.
They have money behind them and they can go forward and then they have the boots on the ground. What I want to quote is J.D. Vance. And I remember he was saying, you know who quoted him? It was the same Mark Lamont Hill. So I was watching his podcast and, he's not for the Republicans. But he was like, oh, JD was saying, either you tear it down, or like I'm paraphrasing, or you leave it alone and you counteract them. Meaning, the Tappan Zee Bridge. You remember how there was one bridge?
Yes.
And they broke it down, and
they built the
then they built the other one.
one.
And then when he said that, I was thinking, all right, the Democrats are here.
Mhm.
You don't even argue with them. What you do is you build that other bridge and people will start coming. Oh, hold on. You see what you said about the Queensboro? So they're going to Adrian. She's not answering. Then you get either a Republican or a conservative to answer. Watch what happens. Right now, President Trump hired a HUD guy. We need to get a hold of him and we need to sit down and we have a strategy in place. No complaints to be like, no, this, that. We need the funding. We put the funding to use and we make it happen. At this point, I don't even want to argue with Democrats. I don't even want to talk about them. And I want to see what they're doing wrong. And then on the other bridge and just do it right. That's my game. They don't do this. They don't do this. We're saying that forever. But what we need is money. And that's the thing. I even have those strategies in place. Jimmy is right here. When I first came in here, Pat, and I need to talk to you, I was like, Jimmy, let me tell you how I can help, because I'm just a constituent. How do I make money to turn around and support? Did I not say that? Boom. That's it.
We started a nonprofit organization. We started the Bronx Initiative. We started. We don't wait to get the funds. We go to these hedge funds. We go to Wall Street. And then
Yeah, but when they do give the money, we got to make use of it to show that that money is there.
that's why
And then we did 10 times more than the Democrats who have billions and they. Let me give you an excellent example. Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. Donald Trump didn't spend $1 billion and he won. She spent over $1 billion and sadly she lost. We're a classic case of mismanagement.
Mismanagement.
Well,
I can tell you on that. Bag of that.
On her side, on her
I was at the inauguration. So here it is, one young lady. She's an old black conservative. The difference was that, yes, Donald Trump invested money. See, they weren't talking about that. In the federal operation, the Democrats came, want people, I know that, they want people from New York, they want people to come into Philadelphia. And they didn't give them one dime to do the work. And the people in Philadelphia rejected it. I said, why are you bringing all these outsiders? Why Trump administration, Trump campaign invested money?
No, I'm glad Trump won, but at the local level, we still have a lot of operations to do.
We have a lot.
So-
We won the ball.
That's
what we need to focus
the
on.
resources, and as Alonzo said, the discretionary money that are elected officials. That's all the levels. The problem is, they use that discretionary money, that discretionary funding, campaigns. And this is how they maintain their.
I would want to push, should I get into council, if I want
We
to
need to
audit,
change the city.
I want to audit the city council. I want to audit, we need to see where the polls are.
I agree with you to an extent on audit, but historically, audits are just another level of bureaucracy that generally end up costing more money and get no results.
That's where it's not where don'ts come in.
Well, it's streamlined, like, I don't know if you heard Donald Trump now, latest thing they're screaming at him. He's talking about the South People altogether. Yes. Bring it back to the state. That's what I said earlier. That's like another level of bureaucracy. Believe me, I worked for FEMA after, Hurricane, Katrina down south. I was a firefighter. The waste that I saw from people was just unbelievable. And I am 100% agree with Trump. It needs to be torn down, either got rid of, or just totally rebuilt. He's talking about sending money to the.
And that's just cut out the middleman. The middleman we have, the better ability there can be.
Once again, Donald Trump winning is great. Once again, the local operation. I'm gonna throw something really simple out there. After the Conservative Party, we don't have any. Now, for the Republicans, I'm sure the number is pretty low. It's not high. That's something simple that we can try to get into. Now, the operational wise, once again, the Democratic Party. So, and stuff like that, most of the things that they're doing are working. Simultaneously, we can do the same thing, but the cohesion between it is hard. And I know for a fact that it can't happen. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Now, we've been lucky that we've been able to push back. Now that we have the attention of the Republican Party, the goal is to get the Democratic Party next. At least that's.
Well, here it is. Why do we? Hold on. If you organize.
Okay, that's how.
Hold on. Let me make this point, because if you run for city council in city office, for every dollar you raise, you get $8 in matching funds. Why don't you all organize your people to raise the money? So that you can have money for your campaign.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, as we hear it here, from God's mouth, we do need your support. We do need your help. Go to the website of the
www.the
If you want to have any more, you want more information, you can go in there and get some more. So people, come on in. We're gonna be doing this more often and open up. Come on in. But you have to donate. When people donate, and then they match.
I give you an example. When I ran for 50,000, it was 8-1. I got a check from the campaign finance board for almost $150,000. Hey, I ran a campaign with that kind of money. So when I'm trying to, now it's 8-1. Right? So you can't $200,000. Imagine what campaign you run.
You gotta run an effective campaign.
Exactly. That should be a goal.
Now, once again, for something like that, we're talking about local operational. Now, it's easy to say you can get 75 people to donate a certain amount of money and $5 to $10, and then get the other additional 3,000 something from the widest scale city. Yes, it's possible. It hasn't been done at our level because we haven't had the full structure of it, but we've been working on it simultaneously the last 2 years. I can tell you for a fact.
What
because-
full structure are you referring to that you do not have?
So let's say somebody, I'm just gonna give you one section. So let's say, my district, I've put in about 250 people in the district. Now, let's say maybe 100, 150 of them are within my district line, right? Now, for example, this is somebody within my line. Now, I get him and I got a bunch of people, say building to building, to want to vote for me, to work with me. Now I have 75 people within my district line to give me, let's say, $10 to $15. I don't know, because I didn't South Bronx. Now my goal is to get the remaining 3,000 half for this year is to get that remaining 3,000 something dollars from all over New York City. Now, the only way that's gonna happen is one, if you register or you talk to the constituents in that district. Number two, you have to get your name and to be known across the city to get people to wanna give you that additional fund. Now, once again, boots on the ground is the number one thing, but I'm not thinking just my district or me. I'm thinking the whole borough at the moment, the last year. Now I'm trying to work for the city, and the Conservative Party doesn't have a solid structure or even an individual that they see as their go-to guy. Now, I've been working on that. The last event that we held, it was the biggest conservative event that I think that's just been around for a decade. Constituents and leaders from all 5 boroughs come to the Bronx and worked out, a good presence here. Now,
Is it recorded?
yeah. Now, the goal for that was so that they could say, look, Gonzalo Duran was able to put these people together. Let's put him as our mayor. That's why a lot of the things that we've been pushing out, we got multiple people doing meetings today because of the progress we've been making, and we need to increase that. But not just me, Emmanuel, Dion, Alonzo soon, et cetera, et cetera. So when we have that full structure, we have people running for let's say the police department, the precinct board, the precinct council, and we have people for community boards. Then we'll have more infrastructure across and more solid. When we get that, it's gonna be hard for us to make any progress.
And I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna say this again.
Out there, more people will be to stay, not to talk.
And we're not just picking up something today, because you need to walk this talk and talk this talk.
That we can probably get to some of these companies.
Now,
can a company donate, funding?
That's not $5 billion in the first 3 years.
Company group. Supreme Court ruling that a company is a person, right? They can donate, however, for the public.
Well, we're not talking about money,
Finance law.
We're talking about on a local level, yes, how do we ease people's suffering, people's pain, and make sure that their life.
They give you, all you gotta do is, like I've done that. Some company come and they donate all these goods and services out to the people. So you don't have to, gentleman over there said he's have housing thing, you can donate some stuff to the people and say, and you give it out to them, and they will know that you do it.
So you can't own a NYCHA building?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There, so much many of more. In New York, NYCHA buildings belong to the government. And the new buildings that you see going up, they are private. But again, it's like the city of yes, it's gonna be a failure because anytime, like you're saying, you give it to the people, there's gonna be corruption. So why are these people putting up these brand new buildings? because they get tax abatements. They get really low loans, these developers. In the end, it's not gonna benefit me, you, or anyone in this room. Because 30 years down the line, these buildings become decentralized. The abatement, goes away, as they say, but these developers made so much money in between. And yes, 30 years from now, those buildings are gonna be in despair again. And those people who built them already made their money. They don't care. City of Yes, the city of Yes, okay? Who do you think is gonna make money with the city of Yes? It's gonna be the developers. It's gonna be the landowners right now, like on East Chester Road, okay, where the new Metro North Station is gonna come. See, when we talk, we have to do the research, and we can't just come up with these programs and say, you know what? I have a great idea. Great ideas, everybody has great ideas. My 4-year-old and my 8-year-old have great ideas too. But when you put them in practice, they don't work. So with the city of Yes, East Chester Road, if you saw the master plan for Morris Park, it's not gonna benefit anybody. It's only gonna benefit the developer. The city of Yes that the mayor has pushed. The Adams administration is a very corrupt administration. I had very high hopes for Adams.
Don't forget.
Because when he came in, he's an ex-police officer. He wanted to bring law and order. He wanted to help disadvantaged people. But the only people that he helped are his friends and family. So he pushed for this, city of Yes. Why? Because the developer's gonna make crazy money. Crazy money. We already have programs in place. We already have NYCHA buildings that we need to fix up, okay? One of my ideas is, number one, there's too much crime in these NYCHA buildings, okay? So if you've been arrested and convicted of a serious crime, you should get banned from living in NYCHA buildings. Because I have children, most of you maybe have children, you want your children to be safe. You don't want them to walk outside. And how many times do we hear on the news that 3 people have been shot at a NYCHA building and they weren't the intended target? Because there's gangs in there. There's drugs, they're selling drugs outside the NYCHA buildings. Inside and outside, in the hallway. In the hallway. Those people have a right. They have little children to live in peace.
And when you walk into
Okay.
the buildings, any building, you see.
Why don't we have more police there? Why don't we have more, arrest these people, ban them from the building?
So that's why I was.
Oh, hold on, I still got a question?
Yeah. Over here. Michelle, are you there? Yeah, my phone's over here. So we'll come back to Michelle, my phone.
The projects. And no, not so many,
The project.
public housing, public housing, public housing. They're
Like what I was saying. When I doing some work, when I went there, I saw crackheads. So when I went to the police said, their hands up, right?
Yeah.
So, and then when we were coming to respond to what we call it, 12 people walked into the basement of the project, smoking crack, and they died of overdose, fentanyl. Well, 2 people jumped off the roof. This is what's happening in those developments. And nobody, the city of New York is not addressing the issue of drug abuse. They're talking about mental health. Mental health. Yeah, mental health.
So that's what, that's.
Why
so
are they
what-
saying right?
As leaders here, right now,
have a plan. We need to have a rapid.
aspire, just a moment, please. As leaders here now, that aspire to keeping these positions. What is our move?
Okay, ready?
Oh, I have one question.
Michelle, can you hear me? All right, so what is your question or something?
Well, I want the states on, the affordable housing is not even down some. Don't the turnaround for that discrimination amongst the labor force for seniors or special classification. But the thing is, just like Mitchell Obama before these new laws came in place, they realized that buildings subsidized. in order to turn around instead of waiting for one individual to get a 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. They made the buildings subsidized so that in certain classes or senior
We lost connection?
No, sorry.
have
Had to answer them.
subsidized already. You
That's
know
all.
what I mean?
Answer was my question. What's the question?
For
Michelle, they wanna know what your question is.
the question is when you went down with the stop, this high turnaround rate in these affordable housing. So affordable, they say it's affordable, but they want to freeze the rent at 7,000, 5,000, and screen and tree won't even put a dent in it. You know, I'm trying to figure out because with there's the politicians right here, they're trying to create programs that will protect these individuals once they get in with these non-discriminatory practices to keep them there and not have a high turnaround rate. And what kind of programs, what kind of subsidy programs like Screen and 3 are the politicians implementing that would make sure that they, once the elders or once the specialized veterans or responders get in the building, that they'll be able to stay in there. You know, not only that, are y'all going to talk about these new legislations that was just signed by President Trump?
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Michelle. Here comes the answers. Okay, hold on, here come the answers.
I think you were down. I was saying, no, I mean for the voucher, she was asking.
So basically, and that's the question. So is that it runs rampant, especially in our employee community. We have to stop that. Source of income discrimination, you have to stop that. You have to stop going to Fifth Avenue and getting one of those apartments and they have rent stabilization in those apartments. Moving on up like Georgia and BC, they only pay $25 a month. Some of them people. They don't pay over $1,000. And some people pay $50,000. So that has to stop. Second, we have to make sure that these subsidies that are going to these developers are actually being used in order to sustain the tenant, to back their voucher. Okay? And not only that, in these buildings, we need to make sure that we bring other businesses into to put more income streams and revenue into this building so it can sustain itself. You can't. That's like Obama at the White House giving out money without putting together programs to sustain it.
Yes.
Alonzo, may I say something? And this is just a thought, so forgive me, I'm not a politician. You know what I was always thinking? So you're a realtor, why don't you, just suggesting, you buy a building as a Republican, you put Republicans inside, and we turn around and we have this discussion, just hear me out. The way you live by example, we keep the place clean, we maintain it, kind of like condominiums, even though it's like a nightclub. And then you just, I want to say something, hold on.
Yeah.
I want to say something,
Discrimination.
when Christie won and we had like the dinner party, there was a gentleman that said that he was like, oh, we should turn the projects into like kind of co-ops. I'm just reiterating what I
Yeah.
but you get what I'm saying?
It would be discrimination.
It would be
I
discrimination.
have to go back to
Oh.
one thing. I have to go back, and I keep on going back to the NYCHA buildings. I think that we have to fix the NYCHA building. And I'm gonna go to your point, why you said that I don't trust developers to like run, privately. We have to have the NYCHA buildings and we have to run them correctly, number one. Number two, we have a lot of the Democrats. The city, let's be honest, the city is run by Democrats. Every branch is run by Democrats, okay? So, and I'm gonna say something outlandish. you know, the Democrats, they like to keep people poor and uneducated. Because if you look at any dictator, you know, like Venezuela, any country that's run by a dictator, how do they control the people? They keep them poor, you know, and fearful, yes, and uneducated. Because when you're uneducated, they keep you under. You know, you can't move up. So, number one, we keep on concentrating on housing, but we should concentrate on education. That's number one. And our education system is failing in New York. I live in the Bronx. I chose not to move out. I can move out. I chose not to move out, but unfortunately, I can't send my kids to school in the Bronx. I send them to Manhattan. Okay. I feel bad about that because I love this community. I grew up on Morris Park. I went to St. Clair's. Then I went to Fordham on Fordham Road, you know, and so on. And education is very important. Number two, we fix the housing situation, but we have to do job placement. We have to get these people self-sufficient, not worrying about paying $1,000 a month or $500 a month in rent, but yet get them better jobs, get them elevated in society. We don't want to keep people poor and stupid.
The reason why I made that suggestion, there are little pockets in Westchester that is, they're not NYCHA buildings, but they are, yeah, they're
But
like,
that's completely different. They're co-ops.
the type of people that live there, they don't make a lot of money, but they have the understanding to maintain the building. Democrats, sense of
But even
ownership.
co-op cities like that.
Lama building,
Yes.
we're talking about like Concourse building and like Co-op City.
Co-op city is the same. The people have an ownership in the apartment. So it's similar to what you're saying.
Yeah, so when I.
But unfortunately, you have so many people that can't even afford that because those aren't that cheap. If you go look at those apartments, they're not cheap anymore. They used to be cheaper in Co-op City.
So we
But-
put it on the level that they can afford, but you said, back to education. Hold on, you back to education. So then you can't do Co-op City. You take a building and you say 500, but you're responsible if the pipes burst. You have to.
And how are they gonna pay for that? How would they pay for that? Not insurance. How would you pay? Heating oil, they use number two oil most of these. At $3 a gallon.
Every single thing that.
Okay, every time you have to fill it up, and $3 is on the low side. Every time you have to fill it up, where are they gonna get the money? So how are you gonna run these buildings? The city charges taxes on these buildings, 80,000, 100,000.
When they come get the money.
Those, and that's what I put my finger on, education.
Let's keep more local.
Question about
Joe.
the opinion on President President Trump said he would.
Yes,
end the-
so much traffic. People don't want.
What-
Good college.
Have one thing where we talk about congestion pricing, but that's an important thing that people are talking about.
So with the congestion pricing, I think, first of all, I'm totally against congestion pricing. Because what's happening is you have businesses that are coming in that are bringing in product. You have trucks that are bringing in product. So now they're getting the surcharge for this congestion price, which now means that Manhattan that's already expensive is only going to get more expensive and more exclusive if people out. You cannot bring produce or any product into Manhattan via the subway system. All of the products that come into Manhattan have to come in on trucks. And you're putting these, and you're charging these truckers an extra. Now, you're charging them for coming into New York, and now you're charging them for using the bridges, and you're also charging them for coming down to Manhattan also to deliver the food. You're going to create a food desert. Right now, you're going to create more in Manhattan. That's what's going to happen. Because people are going to move out because they can no longer afford it. Even though they can afford it now, it's going to get hard for them. And you're looking at this now. You're going to you try to cut down on the amount that are going to be coming into the city due to that. So less traffic into the city, less people, less green, less money coming into the city. Now,
So Bronx can benefit actually from what you're talking about.
I'm for congestion pricing.
I'm for it.
I'm for it.
Actually,
I'm for it.
Bronx.
I can explain why.
Alonso?
Yeah.
want to answer the question?
Congestion pricing. I'm for congestion pricing, and this is why. Like you said, we have a lot of people that visit our city on a daily basis that come through every which tollway and bring all the smog and fog and everything. Now, I don't have any sympathy for the guys that deliver the food because you know what? Their food warehouse, distribution warehouse.
Here's what you- sorry. Here's what you-
I'm for it because it's taxing people coming into the city. It's taxing them to pay up. It's eliminating congestion because people don't want to pay those those prices. And it's putting more focus back on the subway. The game.
All right, so how about, how about the people in the Bronx? Because now when the people come from Westchester and other places are gonna come into the Bronx, but they're gonna go cause more smog. No, because I'm following up on basically what you said.
Look, I'm against congestion pricing. I don't want to tax more, and but although the city doesn't have total control on something like that, I think putting pressure offhand, like let's say maybe if mayor this year or lieutenant governor next year.
But it's not, the congestion prices are not gonna affect us out.
Yes, it is.
Individual.
Yes, it is. Because as a business person, you're in the Bronx.
In the Bronx.
Hold on,
Wait.
It's smog.
So this is what I'm saying. As a business person, I don't want them to take a loss. I want to make a profit. I'm not covering that. You're covering it. No, I'm saying. If I'm a business person, regardless of where I'm at, my goal is to make money,
Absolutely,
right? I don't want to pay that extra congestion price.
okay,
I'm going to tack that on to my products.
absolutely.
You're going to pay for it.
If I live in that area.
No.
Yes.
I don't know that area. Here's what you're forgetting. People don't live there. Who work out that area. They're just $1.50.
Some of those those work will move to if it's getting high.
They live in the Bronx.
They're working, whether they work on their business.
Check this out.
These things not going to affect the people in the Bronx.
What I'm saying. Affect you because people from the Bronx,
everybody has.
You can take the subway. The subway, the bus.
If you take an Uber from Forest Park Avenue to another area in the Bronx, you're paying $1.50 congestion pricing now, starting now.
But isn't it $1.50 only if you go below 60th Street?
No, every Uber ride. And they got $1.50 surcharge to every single ride.
And then here's another thing.
But you know who calls congestion?
Every Uber ride that starts in New York City.
But you know who caused congestion? It was the city by allowing so many Uber and Lyft and all these for hire. Because if you go into the city, you drive into the city, all right, the majority, it's two parts. The majority, a lot of the people coming in are the people that don't live in New York City and the 5 boroughs. They live in New Jersey, they live in Westchester, they live upstate, and they want to drive in, one person in the car, and they're causing congestion. Another aspect of congestion is when they when they messed up yellow cabs and all other cabs, and a lot of people killed themselves because the medallions went from 1 million to 100,000, okay? And anybody who wants to drive an Uber, right now it changed a little bit, you have to get an electric car, but before anybody, go down to the city, it's all taxi and limousine cars. They're all over the place, they're causing congestion. Those are the ones who are causing congestion, in reality.
Yes,
Yeah, I just have, it's about 8:45 and I want to make sure I get this before 9 o'clock. But I had a question. And it's for each of the candidates, and please be very concise because I'm very interested in this. We spoke to City Councilwoman Momorado, and I asked her this question. I would ask it of every candidate. President Trump has been enacting policies that are going to punish sanctuary cities, sanctuary states. New York is both a sanctuary state and New York City is a sanctuary city. Double problem. That will mean that there will be funding that will be taken away from the city. We're talking about roughly $1 billion dealing with illegal aliens in various formats. What proposal do you have, if any at all, that can address that kind of shortcoming? Because that means we're going to have a city that's going to be even further in debt with still the same needs. Do you have an idea? And that's for each candidate.
Sorry, I'm not from this. I'm not from.
We're running time, so we have to commit.
That's different. Come back.
Alonzo,
Let him speak. So number one, this city actually, what you know, and I have a surplus of about $50 billion. That's number one. Number two, the mayor knew that his budget couldn't hold a certain amount of people. As being a sanctuary state and city, you should know what 1 + 1 equals. 1 + 1 don't equal 15. 1 + 1 equals 2. So that falls in the preview of the mayor. He needs to be reprimanded.
So
The council needs to be reprimanded.
moving forward, what is your proposal on solving that?
Okay, so we can keep the people we have. We can try to work it out, but we can't keep spending our funds on that.
So what you're saying is repeal the sanctuary city?
No, not repeal it. Not repeal it.
Okay.
Because we are a country of immigrants and we were built on immigrants. And here's the better life. Take a number. You know what I'm saying? Take a number. Our budget can do this. We can do this. Now, in doing that.
So what is your proposal? Is it less people coming in, or is it abolishing it? What is the proposal?
Less people coming in, more programs and more initiatives to create more income streams in order to sustain us instead of depending on a federal budget. And more people that's working within the city council and the city governments that are not stealing.
So you're saying raising taxes in the city?
No, we're not. No.
So that's where the city gets most of its money from.
PNLC.
Okay.
Dion, answer next.
Hold on.
So what I'm doing.
Excuse me, one more.
Please.
So first of all, I have no problem with New York City being a sanctuary city and the state being a sanctuary state. You know, we were founded in this country and we actually become, do I believe that we have to have a limit towards it? Yeah. You know, and I've always used this scenario, this water bottle, if I fill it to the top, but if I keep on pouring it, it's gonna fall over and destroy these papers. So one thing that I am very happy with Trump getting into office was his approach and his policies to helping to narrow down the influx that we're seeing. Him opening up the border is one thing, and you know, I'm pretty sure that he's trying to stop the funding coming in for cities and states that are not trying to go in line with him. Now, once again, the greatest part about the U.S. is that we have a checks and balance. Just because he says it doesn't mean it's going to happen. As long as we fight back, we can make some kind of some balance on these situations. I actually sat in the budget meeting with the mayor on how they got the money for the last crisis to close our budget with the migrants. And what happened was, from every agency, he told them you had to give them 5% or whatever the amount was. And all of a sudden, it came up. Every department I gave cut back their spending and increased the budget, and you know the $4.11 billion.
That's what was happening.
Yeah, but the thing that did happen, I was in the meeting. That's how it closed out. Now, with that being said, once again, spending the money, the way it's being done, I look right now towards the future when it comes to the situation of the migrants. There's going to be hard times, so people have to prepare. They have to understand the rules that are coming in place. And us as, hopefully elected officials, or even just us as politicians is trying to minimize the taxpayers having to front the bill on this. But at the same time, we have to limit it as well.
So what I'll do, I think my proposal is 5 to 10 tutorial that, so that we can get it right now. 5 to 10 year moratorium, and then we can slowly implement it back and see how we adjust to it, if it's something we want back or not. But it needs to be a 5 to 10 year moratorium. Okay, from here to here, we're not putting a pause on that. Make sure we take care of the city, take care of our people first. Then we move forward, because charity begins at home. You cannot tell me you love me and you want to feed me when your kids are starving. You're lying. My thing is a 5 to 10 year moratorium. Hold on all of that. Take care of us, and then consider slowly rolling it back in.
But let me ask you this, in the sense that a lot of families might be children. What do you expect the mayor to do? In the sense that they are in the street, they expect families to stay in the street, and families not to go to school?
Okay. So here's where I'm gonna get a lot of flack for this. I'm sorry, but they're not. They're not. No, they're not. I'm sorry. No. You know what? The plan's going down. Put your mask on first. You cannot tell me you care about these people so much that you're refusing to take care of your own people.
I like to just say one thing with your more random. Honestly, I never thought of that coming up. Realistically speaking, I mean, that's not going to happen with a full-on city council of Democrats. So once again, the projection and what's realistic.
But this, but for this period of time, we need to roll back.
It's just a bigger problem, and there's not a lot of people talking about it. The migration numbers for 2023.
Mhm.
New York State had the largest outward migration.
Yes.
Of 100,000.
Yes.
Okay, out of that 120,000 that the population of New York State counted, 77,000 of those came. That 77,000 were primarily tax-paying citizens that have left the city.
Because the taxpayers can leave,
And they're being
they
replaced
can leave.
with people in need. So eventually it is going to collapse if we keep going.
How would we say
There's no other answer. If the tax base keeps leaving at this alarming rate from New York City, just imagine, New York City lost more people than probably all 49 other states. It was a bigger outbreak.
I know this is a very hot button question, which is why I wanted to ask it, because a lot of people, in one way or another, the public is asking about this. They want answers. So far, they're not getting any. And in fact, from the last knowledge I have, New York City Council hasn't addressed this at all, nor has New York State Assembly, nor the legislature. So, but she said they hadn't talked about it. That's exactly what she said. I have it on record. But I've heard from everybody except Dion. So again,
Yeah,
what?
but you're sitting up there though.
You all are doing my time. Go ahead. Mr. Discipline, please.
Okay.
Yeah, 3 minutes.
You have 3 minutes. Oh, I'm gonna start with a closing statement. Which is this. Michelle, you gonna take my time? No, please go ahead and finish up so we can wrap it up. Everybody would just listen to me. Okay, Trump. And that's it. Fully fit.
I like the club. Thank you so much for having me. I really, discussion. My thing is, talk the talk, walk the walk. You know what I mean? I learned in business school. I went to the University of Maryland. But what I learned is nothing from nothing leaves nothing. You gotta have something in order to bring something. And in order to keep something, you have to maintain it. That means your giving hand has to be steady going, and your receiving hand has to keep flexing the hand, and it has to be reciprocal. It has to keep going. You can't keep taking, and stashing and think you're gonna come up with something actually like a problem. No. So as leaders, as new leaders coming into this, we have to come into this with a viable plan. A viable plan. Not just words, but numbers. I'm talking about looking at cities that already did these works and incorporating cities that's already did these works. Going outside of our borders to bring the people here and to bring the resources here and to bring this.
All right, so that, your turn.
My thing is, right now, it seems like there are too many hands in the pot. Everybody's want to pick a piece out and put a piece in. We need to get back to keeping it simple for the people. Job of the government is to make people's lives better. Not tell them how to live, tell them what to buy, tell them what not to buy. That's not your job. You take care of the infrastructure, make sure people can run their business the way they see fit with regulations that protect everybody else when needed.
And make it
And right now, we're not doing that. This whole congestion pricing, also look at where the toll was put. That was on the 6th Street.
Yeah.
Now, what's right after that? The 59th Street Bridge. That was the only bridge that would let you go from Manhattan into Queens without paying toll. So now, to go into Manhattan from any angle, go Manhattan, you have to pay a toll, whether you're coming into the tunnels, whether you come into the 59th Street Bridge. Even though you're only using the 59th Street Bridge to go into Queens and not into Manhattan, you're still paying that toll. We're getting nickel and dime that we're not even realizing how much is happening. We're talking about congestion pricing not affecting downtown. It does not affecting the Bronx. It does. We have to get to a point where we realize that it's not all just about what the government and the government and the government. The people also have a part to play. We have to go out there and we have to make our voices heard. We have to get involved. These kind of discussions, and we're going to be doing more of that. More of us, the conservative party on this end, we're going to be more out in the community. We're going to come out in the community. We want to hear from you. We want to hear from you as much as you want them to listen to you. So we want to listen. If they don't want to listen to you, we want to listen to you, and we're really ready to work with you. So please contact us. We gave out the information earlier. I'll give it again. It's the Bronx Conservative Party.com. Please go there. Register if you want to. Have any questions, please register and ask us.
Yeah, thank you. Well, first of all, Emmanuel, thank you for putting this together. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you so much. If you're trying to get more, look, my name is Gonzalo Duran and I'm running for mayor. If you want to get more information on my platforms, that's easy. You can go on gonzaloduran.nyc. If you're trying to get to know the person and who I am and what I'm fighting for and what I'm doing, easily just go on any social media and it's at Gonzalo Duran NYC. The only thing that I can possibly say that's any different than anybody else is saying or doing is this. I'll keep it direct and simple. Well, nothing's going to change unless we make a radical change. And I'm willing to step up to do the work. I'm willing to devote the next 4 years of my life to making the city better. But if you guys don't put me there, then you continue seeing the same thing. So if you want to be radical, choose me.
Oh,
With that note, we want to close and we say that the people of the Bronx and the city have a choice. That means they vote for people on the Conservative Party line. That will make a difference. Don't let the Democratic Party choose everybody. They run on a phone. Same business goes on. So with that,
Thank you. We also would like to thank our sponsors. Would you like to say a few words?
Oh, and thank you for allowing me to be here. I'm happy that I was able to sponsor. And I look forward to, well, I run a media house, Down the Yard Productions that cater to the Caribbean community. I formed a nonprofit back in 2020 that's caters to the youth when it comes to their health, physical, mental, emotional. It was all due to the pandemic. And I'm looking to strategize the nonprofit and the business that I have to support, I'm a Republican, to report the Conservative Party, and I would talk with you, while we're eating, and to share with you a couple of things. So thank you for putting this together. Thank you for running, and it's good to see you, Rabbi. And thank you, and thank you for making
Oh. Hey, everyone, go to No Soundbites Allowed.
All right, thank you so much, guys. We're good. All right, so we'll have that,
Very.
I-